Welcome back to the Fantasy Empire Show podcast, whatever you want to call this. We are here with our 2019 fantasy baseball rankings. We have done catchers and first baseman so far, and today we're going to be tackling the second base position. I got my top 20 rankings because, I feel like 20 is a good number. If you're in a 10-team league, then you're probably going to have two second basemen on your team because second basemen aren't that deep as usual. They're usually one of the positions that you kind of have to focus on getting a good player in or hope to get one off the waiver wire. But anyways, I'll be having my strategy videos after the rankings we get through. Otherwise, like I said, we did catcher already and first baseman, and we'll be attacking shortstop next. So if you want to see those, make sure you subscribe for some more content. And kind of the quick strategy for second baseman, we have 5 tiers as usual. Usually you want to get someone within the first 2 tiers. If not, you probably want to get 2 people in the third tier. You pretty much want to avoid the bottom 2 tiers unless you're like punting second baseman, I guess. So we're going to start off from 20 all the way to number 1. And if you guys do like this video, make sure to drop a like on it. If you don't, then do not. But our first guy here is very interesting. We're at the bottom tier here, the bottom 5. And our first guy is going to be the Cincinnati second baseman, Nick Senzel. I put him here because he's a flyer. To me, like in a lot of other rankings, he's not in the top 20. But for me, he's the number 20 just because he has a positive batting average. Probably going to hit 292. These numbers I'm throwing out are projections off ESPN. So, they could be wrong, could be correct. It's just kind of the way for me to explain my background. Not everything is based off projections, as you'll see later on in the standings. But 292, 10 stolen bases, and 15 home runs. It's an interesting flyer choice. I think you would take him just because of the batting average. That's the only reason why. I mean, this is Red second baseman. How good can it be? How bad can it be? That's the real question. But, I do think Nick Senzel is a good second baseman, but he's just got to make his way up. And hopefully this year he can crack the top 20. And number 19, still continuing the bottom tier, the guy who's kind of fallen off since leaving the Yankees is Starlin Castro on a Marlins team that just keeps on losing players. So maybe he is the best player on the team now. Maybe not. But projections, 271 batting average, 14 home runs, and 5 stolen bases. So his numbers aren't crazy or anything. But I have him at 19 because the upside that he'll be the only one that can actually do something on this team. So maybe he'll take that leadership role. He'll get some more at-bats as well. And more at-bats equal more chances at getting some stats. So that's why Castro, to me, is number 19. Next up is more the kind of not rookie, but we're getting up there. The younger ages. Ketel Marte, Diamondbacks shortstop, second baseman. He's listed as a shortstop on ESPN, but on other sites like RotoWorld and such, he's listed as second base. So I'll just put him in here as my second base ratings, just because I don't think he'll be ranked in like the top 15 on shortstops or something. So Marte was actually 15th last year in shortstops. According to ESPN this year, he's projected 265 batting average, 11 home runs, and 8 stolen bases. Once again, nothing crazy. The batting average isn't hot, the home runs aren't hot, the stolen bases aren't hot. But that's just kind of how the second base position is. And you have to, I had to have him at number 18 here because he's a young player, and you never know, he could have a breakout season. You can't really predict breakout seasons, but with young players like this, you just really never know, especially on a Diamondbacks team. Number 17 is the good old Rockies guy who is no longer a Rocky, DJ LeMahieu. He had a good stint in Colorado. He was ranked 10th last year, but this year he's projected to hit 284, 8 home runs, and 5 stolen bases. He went from one home run hitting park to another, so I really don't see his home runs taking a dip too much. The only thing that's probably going to take a dip is at bats because of how good the Yankees lineup is. So DJ LeMahieu down here, it's not. He's definitely going to regress from where he was before. He used to be a top 10 second baseman, but not anymore. Maybe 17 is too low, maybe not. And to round out the 5th tier, like I said, you basically do not want anybody in this tier. These are kind of just waiver wire guys, or if you're going to take a third second baseman, which I don't know why you would, but if you do, then sure. Cesar Hernandez. Cesar was 9th last year at second base, but this year he's probably going to take a dip in some categories. He's going to progress in others. Particularly his batting average is probably going to get better. Something he's been working on. Probably going to hit like 265 this year. Projected 12 home runs and 17 stolen bases. So he's almost a 2020 guy, just not really. So Cesar, though, he's done good before. So out of these 5 guys that are in the bottom tier, he's definitely the safest. So that is number 15. And now we are in the 4th bottom tier, the 4th tier out of 5. These are the guys, like I said, if you're tanking or punting second baseman, you'll probably want one of these guys because these guys, can do something, even though they aren't exactly that great yet. But we're talking about number 15, Yoan Moncada. Now, the White Sox have him. He was traded from the Red Sox to the White Sox, as we know. Definitely a good player for Dynasty. His batting average is pretty low, 242, 21 home runs, and 15 stolen bases. So, once again, just like Cesar, almost a 2020 candidate, but the batting average is pretty bad. But I guess you would take him because of him being still on his rookie, stint. So, I could definitely see someone taking that, but I'm not willing to really take the chance on him just yet. Maybe if he's on the waiver wire, sure. Number 14 is the Minnesota Twin, Jonathan Schoop. 264 batting average, 25 home runs, but only 1 stolen base. If you're punting, like I said, if you're punting second baseman, but you need home runs, this is the guy to get here. Except maybe the guy that's next up. But his 264 batting average isn't too bad for 25 home runs, especially this deep in second base. So he's a pretty solid pick if you're punting. I would not go after him, though, if you actually want to have a good second baseman. But if you aren't, then that's a fairly good choice. And to round out the 4th tier, the Texas Rangers second baseman, Rougned Odor. 13th ranked last year. I have him 13th this year. I don't really see any progression or regression with the guy. Probably going to have a low batting average, 245, 25 home runs, and 14 stolen bases. So just like I said with Scoop, if you're punting and you need home runs, I would go after Odor, but just because of that stolen base thing, because if he's going to hit the same amount of home runs as Scoop is, and he's going to hit 0.20 worse on the batting average, at least the 14 stolen bases help, but I still wouldn't go after this guy, really. And now we head into the middle tier. So basically, this is what you want your second baseman to be, assuming that you have your second baseman. Maybe this guy fills up your second base shortstop slot if you have one of those, or maybe just another guy on the bench to put in your utility spot at a time of the day. And we're going to start off with number 12, and this is a fan favorite. Not really, I don't know. I have this guy every year because no one ever picks him, Brian Dozier, and he's a National this year. He's been good at the Twins before. Last year, he only had 20 home runs, but he's on the Nationals this year. Who knows what's happening with Bryce Harper? He's probably not signing back with the team, so that definitely helps Dozier with the batting lineup. But he always hits low, probably in the 220s. But he'll be close to 30 home runs. ESPN has him at 28, and he gets some good runs and RBIs. Definitely a solid pick at number 12. And number 11, this is a guy that's going to get you a lot of stolen bases here. And this guy is perhaps one of the best bang for buck second baseman, Jonathan Villar of the Baltimore Orioles here. 260 batting average, only 14 home runs, but he's going to get you 40 stolen bases a year. So if you are looking for a backup that gets stolen bases, and maybe you're down on stolen bases on the week or something if you're playing categories, and you got like 4 days left, just put VR in, he'll get you like 2 stolen bases a week. So he's definitely pretty good there. And I like the Orioles where he's on for the batting lineup, especially with Machado gone of last year and such. So he's definitely going to get the big, stand in the lineup. But now we crack the top 10 with our guy, D. Gordon. Seattle second baseman wasn't so great last year. His batting average is under 300, but he'll probably hit around 280 and get you 40 stolen bases. So he's basically VR that doesn't hit home runs, but has a way better batting average. So, like I said, I would take Gordon over VR. That's why I have him ranked here. If you can get stolen bases with a good average, he's definitely a good one. And to round out our middle tier, a guy that's kind of been everywhere lately, it seems like, Robinson Cano. He did a thing where he was going to switch to first base, but that never happened, so he is here as my 9th ranked second baseman. He hits 283, 23 home runs. Don't expect any stolen bases, but you can probably expect close to 100 RBI season. Projections have him at 96. He is a very, 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 very solid choice. This is the guy I would definitely go after if you are looking for your backup or your second base shortstop slot. The reason I say that is because, like I said, you kind of want someone from the top 2 tiers, and then you want someone in the middle tier to be your backup. I wouldn't recommend going after like a top tier guy and then a second guy, because then you're going to be too good at second base and you're going to, be lacking other positions when you could have Robinson Cano. Because like I said, he's 20 home runs, almost 100 RBIs, and he hits 283, which is pretty good. So that is number 9. And now we head into our good tier. These are the tier of 5 guys here. These are the guys you're going to want to be targeting as your starting second baseman if you're not going for the top tier guys, and the top tier guys are only 3. So this is more than likely going to be your second baseman choice unless you pick a second baseman in the first couple rounds. At number 8 is going to be not Trevor. What am I talking about? Travis Shaw. He was the 5th best guy last year. He also has third base eligibility, which is nice, but he's going to hit around 260. He's going to get you 30 home runs on the year. So he's definitely a big bat kind of guy, which I like here. Can't really go wrong with Shaw. Sure, the batting average is bad, but it could go up. Who knows? And he gets you a decent amount of stolen bases. 7 isn't a whole lot, but it's some. So, he's definitely a good guy, but he is the lowest on my list, like I said, for the second baseman good category. Next up is going to be Daniel Murphy, the Colorado Rockies second baseman. The other one behind God, what's his name? Not the guy who's replacing LeMahieu. Daniel Murphy, really, really good batting average. ESPN has him at 325 this year and 23 home runs. So he is in Colorado, so you can bank on home runs, and he was already a decent home run hitter. And 325 batting average, you can't go wrong with Murphy. I like him. I like the Rockies. Probably going to end up picking him if he's there. Next at number 6 is my man Scooter. He was the 3rd best one last year. Scooter is really, really making it up the draft board. Scooter Gannett here. 295 batting average, 25 home runs, and 5 stolen bases. From that, you're like, wow, why is he so high up? But he's always consistent. That's the thing. Consistent around 300 batting average, almost 80 runs, over 80 RBIs. And last year he had 92 RBIs and he batted 310. So you can't really, say that he isn't going to progress. He's probably going to progress and keep going. So that's why I like him there. Next guy is Ozzie Albies of the Atlanta Braves. Kind of had his big season last year with 100 runs. This year is projected for 266, 94 runs, 20 home runs, 64 RBIs, and 17 stolen bases. So I think he'll get 20 stolen bases. So for me, he is our first 2020 guy, our first 2020 candidate. And as you know, 2020 candidates are very, very important in fantasy baseball, because anytime you can get 20 home runs and 20 stolen bases, is a good guy. Sure, he's not as flashy as maybe Murphy or Shaw or even Gannett, but Albies is definitely really good. And now to our 4th guy here, another one who kind of had his breakout season last year, Gleyber Torres. is listed as a shortstop on ESPN, but once again, is the second baseman on other websites as well. He plays both positions. You can put him as your starting second baseman, so it's not that big of a deal. 274 batting average, 69 runs, 28 home runs, 96 RBIs, and 10 stolen bases. The reason, even though his stats maybe aren't as crazy, is because he's a Yankee, right? 274 is good, and close to 30 home runs is good, especially if you're going to get 100 RBIs and 10 stolen bases. Torres is perfect for a mid-tier starter. And now we head to the top tier. These three guys, these are the ones that are going high in the draft. So you can get one of these guys. Number 3, who was number 1 last year, Whit Merrifield on the Royals. Who knows what's going to happen with them. He's projected to bat 289. He hit 300 last year. 83 runs, 13 home runs, 62 RBIs, and 38 stolen bases. Last year he had 45. He doesn't get you a whole lot of home runs. Like I said, only 13. Probably somewhere in the teens. But he's got a 290 batting average, and he hit 300 last year, so he can definitely do it again. But the 40 stolen bases, that is crazy. He is D. Gordon that has a really good batting average and some amount of home runs. So that's why I like him up here. And like I said, he's going to get you good runs because where he is in the batting lineup too. And probably a decent amount of RBIs. And now everybody's kind of like, who's number 1? Who's number 2? In my opinion, I think Javier Baez is number 2. He's a guy that plays shortstop, second base, and third base, so you can put him as shortstop. To me, I just don't have him over Altuve because of the batting average. But if you think about it like this, he bats 280. That's pretty good. 95 runs, that's pretty good. 30 home runs, anytime you can hit 280 and hit over 30 is really good. 19 stolen bases and over 100 RBIs. So he's a guy that can take you the good 3,100, the 30 home runs, 100 RBIs. Usually they see that on home run hitters that have like low batting averages, but Javier has a high batting average, at least for the home runs he's making. So that's why he's number 2. And number 1, that leaves you with nobody else except the man Jose Altuve. 321 batting average, 97 runs, 19 homers, 74 RBIs, and 24 stolen bases. And he is the second, only 2 this year at second base of the 2020 candidates. Like I said, 20 home runs, 24 stolen bases, and he's going to bat 321. The thing I just don't like about Altuve is that batting average doesn't count as much as home runs, RBIs, all that stuff. So if you take away his batting average and put it where Baez is at 280, then you're looking at 20 home runs and 20 stolen bases and 90 runs. You're like, same as Baez. So even though Altuve is the number 1, I wouldn't really pick him. You know, that's just my opinion. Every team that seems to have Altuve doesn't make the playoffs. I think you'd have a much better, chance if you picked Merrifield or even Torres. So those are my second base rankings. I hope you did enjoy them. As per usual, comment down below if you have any suggestions for rankings, and maybe even list your rankings. I don't know. Like I said, we're doing shortstop next. I think we'll just do the top 15 because I don't know anybody that's taking 2 shortstops really on their team. So yeah, shortstop definitely the weakest position usually. We'll see if I can fit in 20, but if not, then no. So yeah, hope you guys did enjoy this. I'll see you guys next time, and peace.